The story of 1 Kings begins in the long shadow of King David, a figure whose reign defined an era. His triumphs and tribulations, his wisdom and his flaws, all cast a long shadow over the events that are about to unfold. He was a shepherd who became a king, a man who, against all odds, united the disparate tribes of Israel and established Jerusalem, not just as a city, but as the very heart of his kingdom, a beacon of hope and faith for generations to come. But even the greatest of kings are not immune to the passage of time. As David's life inevitably draws to a close, his once mighty kingdom now faces a period of profound uncertainty and trepidation. The most pressing question of succession looms large, casting a dark shadow over the royal court and threatening the fragile unity that David had painstakingly built over decades of war and diplomacy. Adonijah, one of David's most ambitious and charismatic sons, sees this moment of vulnerability as his opportunity. He boldly attempts to seize the throne for himself, driven by a thirst for power and a belief in his own entitlement. He begins gathering supporters from among the ranks of the military and the nobility, igniting a tense and dangerous political drama that threatens to tear the kingdom apart from within. Alliances are tested, loyalties are questioned, and the very future of Israel hangs in the balance. But amidst this turmoil, loyalists to David and to the true line of succession, figures like Nathan the prophet, a man of unwavering faith and conviction, and Bathsheba, David's wife and Solomon's mother, intervene, determined to uphold the king's wishes and protect the kingdom from those who would seek to usurp its power. They bravely remind the ailing David of his solemn promise, made years before, to make Solomon, his son with Bathsheba, the rightful king and heir to the throne of Israel. Summoning the last vestiges of his strength, the aging King David, with a heavy heart but a clear mind, reaffirms Solomon as his chosen successor, ensuring the continuation of his dynasty and the stability of his kingdom. This act of succession is not merely a political maneuver. It is seen as the fulfillment of God's sacred covenant with David, a divine promise that his line would endure and that his kingdom would prosper, setting the stage for a new era of peace and prosperity under Solomon's rule. The transfer of power from father to son is far more than just a political transition. It represents a profound shift in leadership and direction for the entire nation. It is viewed by the people of Israel as the continuation of God's divine plan for their nation, a testament to his unwavering faithfulness and a source of hope for the future. In his final moments, David imparts his last words to Solomon, a blend of fatherly advice, seasoned wisdom, and shrewd political strategy, passing on the lessons he has learned through a lifetime of leadership. He urges Solomon to be strong and courageous, to remain steadfast in his faith, to diligently follow God's commandments, and above all, to secure the kingdom against any threats, both internal and external. He wisely instructs Solomon to remember and reward those who have remained loyal to him and to the kingdom, ensuring their continued support and solidifying his own position. And with equal measure, he cautions Solomon to deal wisely and decisively with old enemies, those who have proven to be a threat to the stability of the kingdom, ensuring that they can no longer pose a danger. These final instructions underscore the weighty realities of leadership, the constant vigilance and difficult choices that come with wearing the crown. With David's passing, the era of the shepherd king, the warrior king, the poet king finally closes, marking the end of a transformative chapter in Israel's history. And as the sun sets on David's reign, Solomon's reign begins. A new dawn brimming with the promise of peace, prosperity, and unprecedented glory for the kingdom of Israel. Yet even amidst this optimism, the new era is shadowed by the ever-present risk of human frailty, the potential for mistakes, and the inherent challenges of wielding absolute power. The entire kingdom holds its breath, watching and waiting with bated breath to see what the next generation of leadership will bring, whether Solomon will rise to the occasion and fulfill the hopes placed upon him. The legacy of David, with all its triumphs and its failures, is both a profound blessing and an immense burden for the young King Solomon, shaping his decisions and influencing his every move. The stability that David so painstakingly forged through years of conflict and compromise is still fragile, vulnerable to internal strife and external threats. And so the future of Israel, the kingdom that David built, hangs precariously in the balance, dependent on the wisdom, courage, and faithfulness of its new king. The story of 1 Kings is ultimately about how this complex and multifaceted legacy is carried forward or tragically lost as Solomon navigates the treacherous waters of kingship. As Solomon ascends to the throne, the hopes and dreams of an entire nation, weary from war and yearning for peace, rest squarely on his young and untested shoulders. The age of Solomon, the son of David, now dawns, promising an era of unprecedented prosperity and cultural flourishing for the kingdom of Israel. But this new era is also fraught with peril, filled with both the immense potential for lasting glory and the ever-present threat of division, corruption, and ultimately, the downfall of the kingdom. With the throne secure after a period of transition and consolidation of power, Solomon faces the daunting task of ruling Israel, a nation poised at the crossroads of immense potential and significant challenges. The weight of leadership settles upon his young shoulders. In a dream, a divine encounter unfolds. God appears to him, offering him anything his heart desires. It is an unprecedented proposition, a moment of profound choice. Solomon, rather than seeking riches or military might, humbly asks for wisdom, a discerning heart, an understanding mind to govern his people justly and with compassion. He recognizes the immense responsibility before him. God, pleased with his selfless request, grants his request, and Solomon's wisdom becomes legendary, a beacon of enlightenment in the ancient world. His insights are sought after by people from all walks of life. His insight is famously displayed, showcasing his ability to see beyond the surface and discern the truth. It is famously displayed when he resolves the dispute between two women claiming the same child, a case that tests the very limits of human understanding. He reveals the true mother through compassion, her willingness to sacrifice her own claim to save the child's life. News of his judgment spreads like wildfire, and Israel stands in awe of their king's extraordinary gift. Solomon's wisdom extends beyond the courtroom to all aspects of administration, dividing the kingdom into districts, implementing a system of governance that promotes efficiency and fairness. This leads to an era of unprecedented peace and prosperity, a time of growth and stability for the nation. Trade flourishes, wealth pours into Jerusalem, transforming it into a vibrant center of commerce and culture. The people rejoice in safety and abundance, enjoying the fruits of their labor and the blessings of a wise ruler. His fame reaches distant lands, carried by merchants and travelers who marvel at the tales of his wisdom and wealth. This draws rulers like the Queen of Sheba, eager to witness firsthand the wonders of Solomon's kingdom. She is astonished by his knowledge, his insightful answers to her riddles, and the unparalleled splendor of his court. The reality of Solomon's reign surpasses all rumors, a testament to the power of wisdom and righteous leadership. It is truly a golden age under a wise and God-fearing king, a time of peace, prosperity, and enlightenment. The early years of Solomon's rule, marked by divine favor and exceptional wisdom, shine as a beacon of what Israel could be, a shining example for generations to come. But beneath the surface of this golden era, challenges remain, and the seeds of future discord are quietly sown. Solomon's crowning achievement is the construction of the Temple in Jerusalem, a permanent home for the Ark of the Covenant. David had dreamed of this, but it was Solomon, a man of peace, who fulfilled it. The project is vast. Alliances are formed, thousands of laborers conscripted, and the finest materials gathered. The temple is built in reverent silence, its stones prepared off-site, emphasizing its sacredness. After 7 years, the temple stands as a masterpiece, its gold gleaming in the sun. At its dedication, the ark is brought in, and the glory of the Lord fills the temple, overwhelming the priests. Solomon's prayer dedicates the temple as a place for all to seek God, a spiritual high point for Israel. Even at his peak, Solomon's choices sow the seeds of decline. He amasses wealth, forms alliances through hundreds of marriages, and accumulates power, ignoring God's warnings. Foreign wives bring their gods to Jerusalem, and Solomon builds altars for them, betraying the covenant. His heart, once devoted, becomes divided. God confronts Solomon. Because of his disobedience, the kingdom will be torn away, but not in his lifetime for David's sake. Only Judah will remain with his descendants. Adversaries rise and internal strife grows. The golden age dims and the unity David and Solomon built begins to unravel. The consequences of compromise become clear. The death of Solomon, the wisest king, marks not just the end of a reign, but the end of an era of unprecedented unity and prosperity for Israel. His passing leaves a void, a power vacuum, and a nation on the brink of transformation. Rehoboam, Solomon's son, inherits a kingdom, a vast and powerful realm built on the foundations laid by his father and grandfather. He now faces the daunting task of maintaining this legacy. However, the kingdom is burdened by deep-seated resentment simmering beneath the surface. The heavy taxes and forced labor imposed by Solomon to fund his ambitious building projects have taken their toll on the people. The northern tribes, sensing an opportunity for change, unite under the leadership of Jeroboam, a man who had previously challenged Solomon's authority. They approach Rehoboam with a plea: ease their burden, lighten the yoke of oppression. The elders, seasoned advisors who had served Solomon, counsel Rehoboam to listen to the people, to show compassion and understanding. They urge him to speak kindly and promise relief, suggesting that this will secure their loyalty. But Rehoboam, insecure and inexperienced, dismisses the wisdom of the elders. Instead, he seeks counsel from his peers, the young men who have grown up with him and share his privileged background. Influenced by his youthful advisors, Rehoboam responds with arrogance and threats of even harsher rule. He declares that he will increase their burden, making their lives even more difficult than before. This arrogant response proves to be the breaking point. The northern tribes, feeling betrayed and oppressed, rise up in rebellion, declaring their independence from the house of David. Their rallying cry echoes through the land. What share do we have in David? We have no inheritance in the son of Jesse. 10 of the 12 tribes unite to form the kingdom of Israel in the north, with Jeroboam as their king. This new kingdom represents a significant loss of territory and power for Rehoboam. Only the tribes of Judah and Benjamin remain loyal to Rehoboam, forming the smaller kingdom of Judah in the south, centered around Jerusalem. The once united and glorious kingdom of Israel shatters into two separate entities, politically fractured and spiritually divided. This division marks a turning point in the history of the Israelite people. Two rival kingdoms now stand where once there was one, each vying for power and influence in the region. Each kingdom embarks on its own distinct path, facing its own unique challenges and struggles in the years to come. This division sets a tragic precedent of disunity, internal conflict, and ultimately vulnerability to external threats. From this point forward, the narrative of 1 Kings follows two parallel and often conflicting stories, chronicling the fates of both Israel and Judah. The promise of an enduring dynasty through David's line is now fractured, its future uncertain and precarious. The consequences of Rehoboam's pride, his poor judgment, and his failure to listen to wise counsel are immediate and have lasting repercussions for generations to come. The golden age of Israel, characterized by peace, prosperity, and unity under David and Solomon, is definitively over. The nation's future is shrouded in uncertainty as the two kingdoms navigate a complex and often hostile landscape, forever marked by the tragedy of division. Jeroboam, king of the north, fears losing his people to Jerusalem's temple. He creates a rival religion, setting up golden calves in Dan and Bethel, and appoints non-Levite priests. This idolatry becomes the original sin of the northern kingdom, repeated by every king that follows. Israel's history becomes a cycle of corrupt rulers, assassinations, and spiritual decay. Ahab and Jezebel plunge the nation deeper, introducing Baal worship and persecuting God's prophets. The stage is set for a dramatic confrontation between idolatry and the living God. In Judah, the Davidic line continues, offering stability the north lacks. The temple remains in Jerusalem, anchoring worship and identity. Yet Judah is not immune to idolatry. Many kings allow pagan practices to persist. Some, like Asa and Jehoshaphat, attempt reforms, purging idols and restoring true worship. But revival is often short-lived, and the people's hearts remain divided. Judah avoids the chaos of Israel, but still faces decline. God's promise to David endures, even as his descendants falter. In Israel's darkest days, God raises Elijah, a prophet who challenges Ahab and Jezebel's idolatry. Elijah declares a drought, directly confronting Baal, the supposed god of rain. After years of famine, Elijah calls for a showdown on Mount Carmel, the prophets of Baal versus the Lord. The prophets of Baal cry out in vain. There is only silence. Elijah rebuilds the Lord's altar, drenches the sacrifice with water and praise. Fire falls from heaven, consuming everything. The people fall on their faces, proclaiming, "The Lord, He is God." Elijah's victory is a dramatic call to return to true worship. Yet the struggle for Israel's heart is far from over. 1 Kings ends not in triumph, but in reflection. The book reveals how leadership shapes a nation's destiny. Wise kings bring peace, corrupt ones bring ruin. God's patience and justice are evident. He honors his promises, but holds leaders accountable. Prophets like Elijah offer hope, calling people back from the brink. The story is a warning about compromise and divided hearts. Even the greatest can fall. True strength lies in faithfulness to God. The legacy of 1 Kings is a call to humility, wisdom, and undivided devotion.